The desert sun blazed overhead as Jake Miller checked his water supply one more time. He had been walking for 3 days across the wasteland of New Arizona, searching for any sign of the crashed alien ship his team had detected. The heat was unbearable, even for someone used to harsh conditions. A strange shimmer in the distance caught his attention. Moving closer, he saw what looked like a person lying motionless beside strange metallic debris. The figure was clearly not human. Her skin had a pale blue tint and her hair was silver white like moonlight. She wore clothing made from materials he had never seen before. Jake knelt beside her and checked for signs of life. Her breathing was shallow, and her skin felt burning hot, even hotter than the desert air around them. She was unconscious and clearly suffering from severe heat exhaustion. Her alien biology was not designed for this brutal environment. Without hesitation, Jake lifted the woman into his arms. She was lighter than he expected, but still a significant burden for the long journey ahead. He estimated it would take him at least a week to reach the nearest human settlement carrying her. His own water supply was already running low. The first day was the hardest. The alien woman remained unconscious while Jake carried her across endless sand dunes. His back ached and his legs felt like they might give out at any moment, but something about her peaceful face made him determined to save her life. On the second day, she briefly opened her eyes, revealing irises that swirled with colors like an oil slick. She tried to speak, but only weak sounds came out. Jake gave her small sips of his precious water, and she seemed to understand his kindness. Her eyes showed gratitude before she slipped back into unconsciousness. Day after day, Jake continued walking. The alien woman grew heavier with each step and his own strength was fading. His water ran out on the 4th day, but still he pressed forward. He found occasional moisture, from desert plants and morning dew, barely enough to keep them both alive. The woman began to stir more often on the 6th day. She would look up at Jake with those incredible eyes and touch his face gently as if trying to understand why this stranger was sacrificing everything to help her. She started making soft musical sounds that might have been her language. On the 8th day, Jake collapsed. His vision was blurry, and his tongue felt like sandpaper. The woman somehow found the strength to crawl. To him, she placed her hands on his forehead and began to glow with a soft blue light. Immediately, Jake felt cooler and more alert. Her touch was healing him. They helped each other stand and continued walking together. Now the alien woman was still weak, but she could support some of her own weight. She kept one hand on Jake at all times, maintaining that healing energy that kept them both going. Finally, on the 10th day, they saw buildings in the distance. The human outpost of New Haven appeared. Like a mirage, Jake had walked over 1,100 kilometers carrying this stranger through one of the most dangerous deserts on Earth. They stumbled into the settlement together, exhausted but alive. The settlers were amazed by the alien woman, and immediately called for medical help. Jake collapsed as soon as he knew she was safe. He had pushed his body beyond all limits. The woman refused to leave his side during his recovery, constantly using her healing abilities to help him. 3 weeks later, a massive ship appeared in the sky above New Haven. It was unlike anything humans had ever seen, beautiful and terrible at the same time. Thousands of the blue-skinned aliens emerged from smaller craft. They had come looking for their lost daughter, the alien woman whose name sounded like wind chimes when she spoke. It ran to greet her people. She gestured excitedly toward Jake and began telling them something in her musical language. The alien leaders approached Jake with expressions of wonder and respect. Through translation devices, they explained that their daughter, Princess Zara, had told them everything. Jake had risked his life for a complete stranger from another world. He had shown kindness without expecting anything in return. This act of pure compassion was legendary even among their advanced civilization. The alien leader stepped forward and spoke in careful English. "You carried our most precious child across impossible distances when you could have saved yourself alone. You gave her your water when you had so little. You shared your strength when yours was failing. For this we name you Keeper of Light, the highest honor we can give." Zara approached Jake and placed a small crystal pendant around his neck. It pulsed with the same blue light as her healing touch. She explained that it would allow him to call upon her people if he ever needed help. It was a bond that would last forever. The aliens offered to take Jake with them to their home world, to reward him with riches beyond imagination, but Jake politely declined. He was happy knowing that Zara was safe with her family. The simple act of helping someone in need was reward enough for him. As the alien ships prepared to leave, Zara hugged Jake tightly. She whispered something in his ear that sounded like a promise. The crystal around his neck grew warm, and he understood that somehow they would meet again. Years passed, and Jake became something of a legend himself. Other humans sought him out to hear the story of his incredible journey across the desert. Word spread throughout human space about the man who had shown such kindness to an alien stranger. Sometimes at night, Jake would look up at the stars and remember those 10 days in the desert. He would touch the crystal pendant that still glowed softly and wonder what Zara was doing among the stars. The experience had changed him forever, showing him that compassion was the greatest force in the universe. The story became a symbol of hope for both species. When humans and aliens met in space, they would speak of Jake Miller and Princess Zara as proof that different worlds could understand each other through simple acts of kindness. Jake never regretted his decision to carry that strange blue woman across the burning desert. Those 1,100 kilometers had been the most important journey of his life, teaching him that being human meant helping others, regardless of who they were or where they came from. The desert still stretched endlessly across New Arizona, but now it held different memories for Jake. It was no longer just a wasteland, but the place where two worlds had touched through one man's refusal to abandon someone in need. The place where he had learned what it truly meant to be called keeper of light.